Movement is the first thing that stands out. Quiet, unassuming movement recorded not by witnesses, but by dispatch logs that were never meant to tell a story. In the critical hours surrounding the children's disappearance, these logs show repeated vehicle sightings near locations that later became central to the search. Not a single pass, not an isolated moment, but a pattern that only becomes clear when the data is examined as a whole. Before we go any further, make sure to hit the subscribe button and turn on your notification bell so you can get first-hand updates on this case and others as new information emerges. Dispatch logs are often overlooked, treated as routine paperwork. Yet in this investigation, they reveal something far more troubling. Vehicles were logged moving near trail access points, residential roads, and search-sensitive areas during time windows when activity should have been minimal. One vehicle in the wrong place could be coincidence. Multiple sightings across connected locations begin to challenge that explanation. These records suggest the area was far more active than originally believed, raising questions about whether those movements were ever analyzed together rather than as isolated entries buried in official records. At the center of the timeline is real-time emergency call metadata. Unlike human memory, metadata does not change. It captures exact times, call durations, and locations, making it essential for reconstructing what truly happened. This data has forced investigators to re-examine witness statements, especially when phrases like just before or shortly after are translated into exact minutes. In several instances, call data exposes gaps where reported activity doesn't match recorded communication, and clusters where the timing feels unexpectedly compressed. Once the timeline shifts, everything else shifts with it. Vehicle travel distances, witness credibility, and the plausibility of certain scenarios. Those timeline issues become more visible when examining witness phishing accounts. Several individuals claim to be fishing near key areas during the disappearance window. Initially, these statements seemed straightforward. But when compared against patrol logs and organized search records, conflict emerged. Some witnesses placed themselves in areas where patrol units reported no civilian presence. Others describe conditions that don't match verified environmental data. This doesn't automatically mean deception, but it does raise concerns about how reliable these accounts are when tested against hard data. Vehicle sightings add another layer of complexity. Reports of a black SUV and a Kia Sportage surface repeatedly near multiple critical locations. What makes this notable isn't just the vehicle types, but the pattern of their appearance across time and geography. These sightings suggest movement along connected routes, yet public updates have never clearly stated whether these vehicles were identified, traced, or ruled out. That lack of clarity leaves a major gap in public understanding and fuels ongoing speculation. Conflicting time estimates continue to create serious problems. Some accounts require people or vehicles to move distances that simply don't align with real-world travel times. When timelines don't work, investigators must reassess which details are flawed and which can be trusted. Geographic mapping has further challenged certain claims, showing that terrain, visibility limits, and access restrictions may have made some reported observations impossible from the locations described. Aerial search logs also raise questions. Early flights reported no significant findings, yet later ground searches uncovered evidence in areas that had already been covered from above. This leads to difficult questions about whether evidence was missed due to visibility limitations, or whether it appeared after initial searches concluded. On the ground, clusters of child-sized boot prints complicate assumptions that the children move continuously and independently over long distances. The pattern suggests pauses or confusion rather than steady travel, pointing to moments where something interrupted forward movement. Finally, the handling of the pink blanket introduces concerns about contamination. Without a clearly documented chain of custody, its forensic value becomes limited, making it harder to draw firm conclusions from any evidence linked to it. When all of these elements are viewed together, the picture becomes clearer and more troubling. This case is defined by unresolved timelines, unexplained movement, and critical gaps in public disclosure. Until those gaps are addressed, the questions will remain, and the search for answers will continue.